Hey up Leeds fans, it's the Roaring Peacock LUFC fan channel. This is another Leeds United live stream. We do match previews, reviews, watch-alongs, interviews. So if you're a Leeds fan, we'd love your support by smashing that subscribe button like a fist to the chest. And if at any point during the video that you like it, please give it a thumbs up. The stream will start in 5 minutes and you can find the countdown timer down here. In the meantime, chat away and we'll see you very soon. Here's the light show.
You better take a step back, son. Fuck another passion. Don't you tread on my toes. There ain't gonna be another warning. Down you can call it and just walk right past the Broderick barricade. You ain't got a chance with a face like that. You ain't got a chance when you're up against the bold and the fearless Broderick barricade. There ain't gonna be another warning. Grab your can of Carlin and just launch right into the Broderick barricade. You ain't got a chance with a swing like that. You ain't got a chance when you're up against the bold and the fearless Broderick barricade. You are joking 'cause you've had fair warning. The drunk the floor, amplifies the lights that are set in the scene, that are set in the scene, that are set in the scene. Let's go! Let's go! Yellow! Let's go! It's magic! Yellow! Let's go!
The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions. Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all.
The Roaring Peacock Podcast.
Welcome back to the Roaring Peacock podcast and LUFC fan channel. If you're watching on YouTube, this is the sort of season review. We'll be just looking back at the first Premier League season for 16 years for the Mighty Whites, the best team in England and the only team in Yorkshire. And we'll be going through right from the summer transfer window, the biggest, of course, in 20 years. We actually spent more in that one window than the previous 20 seasons, all the way through from everything the idiot pundits said to a season without fans, Project Big Picture, the attempted assassination of the Football Association in England and the Premier League with the European Super League. What else happened?
Well, there was a top 10 finish for Leeds United.
Right, that was good.
Yeah, really.
So all of that and much more. And my name's Adonis, and you know me as the Adelites on Twitter. And to join us to discuss all of this, it's Wiggy.
Hello, you okay? Happy bank holiday.
Is it bank holiday?
Yeah, it's in the UK. It's bank holiday Monday tomorrow.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, get the booze out then. And it's Andrew Dalton at LUFC Stats. And he's frozen. No, we can't hear him.
Yeah, lovely weather here in West Yorkshire and Leeds. And yeah, it's been what can only be described as a perfect season for Leeds United Football Club from start to finish. And looking forward to looking back on it over the next hour or so.
So a lot happened in the season, obviously, with COVID and whatever. But let's just keep it simple and start off with the summer window. So here were the incomings then. Helder Costa, obviously, that move was made permanent, the same as Millier. We had under-23 recruitment with Gelhardt, Charlie Allen, Cody Drama, Danny Van Den Heuvel, Sam Greenwood, and Crescencio Somerville. And then, of course, Rodrigo, the big one, the transfer that broke Leeds United's record transfer. And then Robin Koch, Diego Llorente, and we thought we were done. But then 5th of October, we broke Rennes' hearts. They practically burnt down the city of Rennes at that transfer, and we had some fish and chips to celebrate. Let's talk about that transfer window, though. Who was to go first? Stats?
Yeah, didn't quite know what to expect with the transfer window, with it being our first season back in the Premier League. Obviously, the main gap for me to fill was the loss of Ben White, because also we put a bid in for Ben White from Brighton. And I remember their tweets or the comments that they made were, "We don't sell to a relegation rival." That was a couple of famous last words with Ben White. But we filled that gap with Robin Koch, then Diego Llorente, then broke the transfer record for Rodrigo. I remember watching Rodrigo, and I think in some Euro qualifiers, didn't quite know too much about him. And then the sort of the elephant in the room was, I think it was Cuisance, wasn't it, that we were going to buy from, was that from Bayern Munich, if I remember rightly? And that transfer never happened. And then lo and behold, the legend that is Victor Orta gets his contact book out. And on the 5th of October, in comes Rafinha, and we're all set to go. And obviously, they've hardly all played together. Now we'll come back to that a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, delighted with the business. No one quite knew what to expect at the start of the season when we put the first team out against Liverpool. But yeah, really happy with the business. And I think the main thing is, from my perspective, growing up, we've always been a bit of a selling club of Leeds United. I think we're now past that. Look, every player has got his price range. We know that. But in the past, when you've expected Leeds to sell players, it hasn't happened the previous summer, in the summer of 2020. So yeah, really, really happy and really ready to go for that first game of the season at Liverpool back on September the 12th.
Wiki?
You're good with your date stats. I'm rubbish with dates. So. Yeah, it was a summer of signing quality over quantity, wasn't it, in terms of first team players, and so we didn't quite know what to expect, because like a lot of us, I didn't hadn't heard of many of the names. You did a little quick look on YouTube to see what we were getting, but you could tell the intent from the club was to spend a bit of money on the 23s, which they did, and look at how well they've done, and spend some money strengthening the squad with quality players, not just going out and buying a new 11 and putting a new 11 on the pitch. It was strengthening the key areas that we needed to. As Stats said, we needed a centre-back. We went and got two quality ones. And let's not forget the emergence now of Pascal Struijk, who is like a new signing, really, because he hadn't played much the season before and really came into his own this season. So I think it was a really, really good quality transfer window, spending a decent amount of money, but as I say, on quality, not on quantity.
Yeah, I think there was one little incident with Struijk. I think it was Charlton, and he was playing in the DM role instead of Calvin, and he pinged a crossfield ball all the way to, I think it was Shackleton.
That's right.
Yeah, and that was kind of the first glimpse of, oh, okay, whoa, he seems to have stepped up a few levels, but this season, I mean, to outplay Cooper, to arguably keep like Koch out of the side, a German international, and then to be having pressure on him to pick whether he's going to play for the Netherlands or Belgium, and people asking him to commit his international future. What a difference. What a difference. So the transfers out then, there were a lot of players that went out on loan that I'd kind of forgotten that we even had. So Lawrence de Bock, for example. Ryan Emerson did okay at Aberdeen, played European football actually in the Europa League. Kuhn went to Real Union, Rafa Mejica. A lot of these players haven't really made a mark.
No.
Apart from Alfie McCalmont,
yes,
who obviously got a call up for Northern Ireland duty. Bryce Hosanna did very, very well until he unfortunately got injured. I think Matthijs Bogus didn't do too bad, but didn't impress so much. Barry Douglas, of course, who's left the club now. And there are a few others. I think Robbie Gotts did okay. I know a lot of people think very highly of him. And then the players that left, again, it's your J. Roy Grotz and your Conor Shognessy's of this world who, hopefully for them, they'll go on and have professional careers, but didn't seem to make much of a difference. Now, as you quite rightly remembered, Stats, 12th of September, 2020, Liverpool.
Yes.
I think it's the most watched opening day game of a Premier League season ever.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that game.
Yeah, well, I've got in front of me, I was going to read you the team lineup from that game. Meslier, Ayling, Koch, Struijk, Dallas, Phillips, Costa, Click, Hernandez, Harrison, Bamford, subs, Roberts, Rodrigo, Shackleton, Casilla, Casey, Poveda, Alioski. Now, obviously, not all those players finished on the last day of the season, but you go into the team, you look at that team there, and only Robin Koch of the new signings started the game. Rodrigo was on the bench, Llorente wasn't part of it, and neither was Rafinha. So you go into that game with basically what was a championship squad, and my God, we should probably come with something from that game. In all honesty, we played brilliantly, and the moment we arrived was when Jack Harrison equalised in the first half, and when it was 2-2 at half time, we were brilliant. And I think people started to look up, even at that early stage in the season, against the champions of Liverpool, going to ask for a harder start. And I thought we played some superb football, and we're probably quite unlucky not to go with at least a point.
Yeah, totally agree. I think we should have come away from that with a point. I'm sure everyone would agree. I think it was one of them going in where you was really nervous looking at the team sheet, especially our defence. You looked and you were like, oh, not sure how this is going to go, but you're totally right. I think we showed the rest of the Premier League we were here, and we were here to play, which was fantastic.
Yeah, and I just want to show you a little graphic. That is our match review cover for the very, very first Roaring Peacock podcast, and you can see how much kind of my art has improved as well, I would say, because I still like that sort of very naive style, but we have sort of experimented and tried lots of different things this season, and I hope we've improved in terms of our podcast content as well.
Yeah.
So I want to at this point just say hello to everybody. So Dylan, first and best dressed, thanks for coming, Dylan, and thanks for your comments and your support all season. Good evening. Hello, my friend. Derek says, "What's happening, fellas?" Leeds. Nora, who is moderating the chat, and if we don't get to your comments soon enough, she will. Says, "Leeds. We're a buying club now," says Derek. Yes. Dylan says, "Arguably our best window. Very drastic recruitment strategy from initial best of the championship approach, and a very big change from the first sort of tactics of Victor as well." Yeah. How he was sort of widening his net and not spending that much and bringing in, the Alioskis of the world. And now, that's no offense to Alioski, but Rodrigo is a big jump from, buying Spain's number 9 was massive. And I think there was just so much excitement before the start of the season. Here we go. Ian Wood, our worst signing, in my opinion, was Costa. Agree?
Yeah,
opinions. He's not had much chance this season, and who knows? There's him, there's Paveda that can play on the wings, so we've got options there. And I think being in the Premier League is about having a Premier League squad and building a squad. You can't just rely on 11, 12, 13 players. You've got to you've got to have a Premier League squad, and I have to say I can see my missus there on the comments there, Adonis. So I think Emery's watching. Good evening.
Just on Costa, I think he's shown flashes of what he can do. He was player of the season for Wolves in the Championship, I think, when they went up. So he showed flashes against Fulham. I thought he played exceptionally well in that first game. Onto your missus then, Miss Emma Lou. Rafinha and Koch were worth every penny.
Yes.
It's not wrong. Frightening to think of what Rafinha is worth now.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be talking 50 million, wouldn't you? To take him off our hands.
All these Man United fans and Liverpool fans that so-called want him need to take a reality check. We're not selling.
Yeah.
I think the reality is that you're right. Everyone has the price, and if they come in and they offer stupid money, you take it, don't you? We wouldn't want to sell him. No one at the club wants to sell him, but you're right. Everyone does have a price. And realistically, I don't think we'll sell him this summer. I think we'll have him another season, but I think probably next season or next winter, depending where we end, then he may be off to pastures new, but for a decent return.
Yeah. And we'll be talking about punditry and the dialogue that came along with Leeds United and the Premier League this season. But this is one of them. So it was the narrative. That's the word I'm searching for. Was poor Liverpool and vigils for Virgil. And Ian Wood here. Am I right in saying that Cochrane, Llorente, and Rodrigo only played 20 minutes altogether? I don't think it was even 20 minutes. Was it stats? Was it 19?
Emma has nicked my stats. Thank you. I'll pay you later. 19 minutes. You're only a minute off. Yes. 3 minutes at the end of the Sheffield United game, stoppage time, and 16 minutes at the end of the Tottenham game. That's unbelievable, isn't it? 19 minutes in total for all 4 of our signings to play together. So basically, we've got to where we are in the Premier League with the Championship squad that goes into the Premier League, which is incredible. And that just shows the achievements of Marcelo Bielsa and the board and Victor Orta and everyone else in Radrizzani.
Okay. Yeah, Wiggy, go on.
Yeah, the club are really methodical with their transfer business and how they go about it now. And I was on a call with Victor Orta, actually, and he was talking about what they go through. And he had this PowerPoint presentation, which is like a Marcelo Bielsa PowerPoint presentation, talking you through what they look for in a player. And and I think the key header on that slide, I remember, was side before self. And they've got to kind of as a person meet these kind of criteria for them then to even look at them and look at what player they are. So if they meet this kind of criteria in their personality and can they contribute to the team, then they kind of get on to the next stage of, well, can they play football? Yeah, right, okay, then we'll have a look at them and we'll buy them. So it's really methodical, and I think we're in really safe hands now in terms of going out and spending more money that we'll need to this summer.
Let me just ask you both this, if I can just quickly jump in.
Go on,
how hard is it to buy a player with Euro 2020 going on? Is it difficult to try and scout that particular player because they're playing in a tournament? Or do you think the background work has already gone on to say we're going to go for player A, player B, player C, for example, do the background work and then try and get into tournament mode in the summer? Do you think it is difficult with a major tournament going on?
There's two parts to that question there. Have they done their homework? Yes. I was watching an interview with Victor Orta, not on the Phil Hay show, but from 1 year ago. And he was talking about how Leeds United recruit. I'm going to do a video on that. So subscribe if you haven't, and you'll get a notification of when that comes out. But I will sort of break down Victor's process. But basically, they have a list. They have a list ready to go. It's like the best 11, basically. And they will be having those contacts. When we got Koch, for example, he'd been speaking. I think it was 8 months. They'd been in contact. Not necessarily phone calls every day, but almost. And then there's other opportunities that come about, like with Rafinha. So at the last minute, with recruitment, so many things have to go right. The opposition manager has to be willing to get rid of him. The agent, you have to have a good relationship with the agent. The owner of the other club, potentially the family of the player. Then that's all before you even talk about the player themselves and whether they want to move, or if they're settled, or if their family is settled, or you know what I mean. So there's so much that goes into recruitment, and you just have to take your hat off to Victor Orta. So I would say, yes, they know who they want. But on the other side, that thing about the Euros, that'll come down to the individual player. And that's almost like the last decision. Wiggy?
Yeah, it probably makes things just a little bit tighter, doesn't it, in terms of getting the deals done, because you've got a shorter window. I think the Euros probably will push a player's value up or down depending on how they have a Euros. So I think that will probably have an impact on it. You might have somebody who they're talking at £10 million, for example, and they have a brilliant Euros, and suddenly it's 20 million. So I think, and it's also just a really weird time, isn't it, in terms of everything, but football and the money, and the loss of money that's there at the minute. Pre-pandemic, there was loss of money, but it's emphasised by the pandemic. So we'll have to see. I think we can have another successful window, definitely. But let's see how it plays out.
A couple more comments here. Then Curly Cowboys watching from lockdown in Thailand. Great content. Keep up the good work. What a season, MOT. Thank you, Curly Conboy. Derek Moore. Derek's been a fantastic supporter of us all season. Thank you so much for your comments, Derek. Smash the like, guys. I wonder if any returning loanies will find their way home, says Lee. Maybe. You never know. You never know. I'm not really sure. I think Alfie did very well. Maybe he'll get another chance with the under-23s. Maybe he'll go out on loan. But you look at somebody like Ben White. He had to go out on loan a number of times, didn't he? And sort of work his way up the Football League before he got a chance. Brexit is kicking in as well, making it harder to sign players. True. I think Sam Allardyce was complaining about that, wasn't he? Yeah. Pretty sure he didn't he vote for Brexit as well? He voted for it, and then he was complaining about it. Okay. Yeah. So rough with the smooth. Ian Wood, I feel that Orta got his recruitment wrong in the first year, quantity over quality, but the last few years he's done very well. Potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think the first season, or maybe the first couple, it was just they just seemed to be signing a player every day to put a video up on the website. Like, look at this flash new video we've got of this player, and not many made the grade. Did this? I agree. I think he's really changed now to signing quality and not quantity.
And I think touching on that, if you look back at the signs we made in the summer of 2017, like Caleb Ekaban, J. Roy Grott, Pavel Savitsky, Matthew Pennington, and now look at the signs we're making: Rafinha, Rodrigo, Robin Koch, Diego Llorente. It's chalk and cheese. And look, I know Victor, and I think he admitted himself under a lot of pressure at the end of that season, of the 17-18 season. There were a lot of calls for him to go. But wow, we very nearly got promoted in the second season, 18-19. Obviously, Derby County beat in the playoff semi-final, and then 2 seasons ago, 19-20, we stormed to the championship. So maybe you need that first season to understand of where we did go wrong in the transfer market. And obviously, Victor was a massive part in getting Marcelo Bielsa to the football club. So he learned from it very quickly, and look where we are today.
So a little sort of look at the season then. This was the first part of the season.
Yes.
A lot of red in there, especially in this little run here. So 2, 4, 6, 7 games here, and we kind of we lost 5 of them. But then a brilliant end to the season, with only 1 loss in about 10 games there. So it was a real tale of 2 halves. Stats.
It was.
Can we talk about this? It was there were defensive errors, weren't there? But throughout, even after these 2 4-1 losses here, I felt very dejected after the Palace game. I thought we were incredibly unlucky. We then, backed that up with 2 clean sheets against Arsenal and Everton, who Everton were flying then as well at the top of the league. So. And then we lost to 6-2 to Scum, a game that didn't happen for many of us, and then followed that up with again 2 clean sheets and scoring 6 goals. So it was very Jekyll and Hyde to start off with until we found some consistency.
Yeah. I think I thought stats were going in front. So I think I think it was. You're right. It was Jekyll and Hyde at the beginning of the season. We were either, smashing teams or we were getting smashed. It was kind of no in between. But I think if you think about as the season progressed and we got to the back end and we started to get consistency in our performances and in our defence, there was one key element that changed, and that was the introduction of Llorente into that back line that really just shored things up, and I think showed what a quality player he is. And it didn't matter who played next to him. He was just, I think, a real constant performer that took the defence up another level for me. And, you can look back and you can go, well, if we'd have had him all season, we'd have finished even higher, probably. But you don't know that. You can only go on what you've got in front of you. So, yeah, there's my comments.
I think from my perspective, and I use a term that you used, Donny, Jekyll and Hyde. If you look at the results in the first couple of months, we have some very good results. Okay, Fulham, the game after I know we got locked out of the League Cup. We don't do cup competitions and never have been competitions for a while. We beat Fulham 4-3. That was just typical of an archetypal Leeds United performance at the start of the season. Very gung-ho in our approach, sort of going back and forth. Then I think off the top of my head, and we get Sheffield United and got a victory. Sheffield United, a late goal, Patrick Bamford. Mesle made a magnificent save in that game. And we had Manchester City to a 1-1 draw in a game. On another day, we probably could have won. Rodrigo got his first goal for the club. And then it came a bit of hit and miss. Wolves got lucky. I don't know how they did a double over us to the second half of the season. And then the best performance in the first 6 was away at Aston Villa, when Gabby Agbonlahor, I know we're going to touch on pundits, but Gabby Agbonlahor came out with all these comments on social media and this, that, and the other. One thing you've got to learn in social media, if you're going to give it out, you've got to be able to take it. And basically, Gabby did Leeds United's team talk for him that night. And I remember Paddy scoring a hat-trick, brilliant hat-trick, and also hatch. And I think he came out in his post-match interview and said all these so-called pundits said this, that, and the other, and just sort of kind of rammed it down sort of so-called pundits' throats. We couldn't back it up, unfortunately. Disappointing against Leicester at home, probably our worst home performance this season. I think we're down 2-0 quite early. I know Stuart Dallas got one back. But to Selhurst Park in a game which still me for the VAR, because Paddy scores, he points and he scores. That VAR decision changed the whole game. I think that would have made it 1-1 at the time, and that was a disgrace. But then we kind of knew that we just had to twig a few things, and I think obviously without Llorente in the squad at the time, with that, and that's nothing against the defenders we've had. I think Cooper's had a magnificent season, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him if he does start for Scotland. But we need to try and shore things up, and we did so. We should have beaten Arsenal at Ellen Road. We outclassed them. Pepper was sent off. We couldn't quite beat 10-man Arsenal. And then we go and do something which we hadn't done since August the 25th, 1990, and that's when a league game at Goodison Park, and that was Rafinha's first goal for the club. And you start to think then, okay, things are starting to develop quite nicely, and things starting to settle down a little bit. Okay, we lost at Chelsea in front of 2,000 fans. Lampard celebrated like he won the World Cup. And again, it was very sort of Jekyll and Hyde after that. We played West Ham, I want to say on a Friday night at the start of December, and we took the lead. Click scored from a second penalty after the first one was, I think, Fabianski moved off his line. And then we played Newcastle, and then the season really did start to click into gear. I know you both watched some highlights. I'm actually doing this from memory, and I'm not looking at this.
I know. I thought I was never going to get a chance to speak ever again.
I am smiling because I know you're doing it from memory, and I'm just like, this is a genius. This is a genius at work.
I can't remember what I did last week.
No, I can't either.
Emma will tell you I've got a photographic memory. And we beat Newcastle by 5. They took the lead, I think, in that game early on. And I think Jackie Harris has got a wonder goal. And then you go into December, into the game that we're all looking forward to, the Manchester United game. And lo and behold, within 3 minutes, it kind of went higgledy-piggledy.
I'll stop you there for a moment, Stats.
Yeah.
Villa, Bamford, hat-trick. The first 2 seasons in the Championship with Paddy, 17% conversion rate, one of the worst for any striker in Europe. Sort of came under a lot of stick, rightly or wrongly. I think criticism is fine, abuse isn't.
Correct.
Ever in any situation. And he was cupping his hands up in Preston. He was holding his hands over his ears at Ellen Road, and we all kind of wondered, can he just get the ball, put it in the top corner? That's exactly what he did at Villa Park. Wiggy.
Yeah, he scored some great goals this season, and I think that Villa one was that Villa hat trick was just superb. And I think that was probably when you went, do you know what? He could get up to 20 goals this season if he carries on in this rich vein of form. And I think that was the moment for me where he proved his critics wrong, and kind of a bit of pressure came off him that he could then carry on coming out and playing some really good football, because not only did he add goals to his game, he continued to do everything he'd done the previous 2 seasons, which, was tracking back, was pressing, was covering so much area of the pitch, was making sure he was defending right from the front line, to then add goals onto his game. Oh, it was just superb and great to see. And to be fair, I was probably one of them who give him stick. Not on social media, but definitely when talking to friends, I was one who was saying he's not good enough. And in the summer, screaming for us to go and get a new number 9, because it was like, we're going to be in trouble if Patrick Bamford is the one that is going to lead the line for us all season. And God, how wrong could we have been? Because he's played superbly, and arguably he's one of the first on the team sheet.
Yeah. Totally. So getting through to some of your comments then. Lee Smith, listening to Calvin talk about being starstruck, seeing certain players, that will disappear. And I think that was a big thing as well. That's part and parcel of stepping up, isn't it? Of seeing the Pogbas of this world
Yeah.
And maybe that's a bad example, but
I know what you mean.
and being starstruck by them. Ian Wood says, save of the season against Sheffield United. I would say it's not just the save of the season, it's a save of many seasons. I didn't see a save like that, and I've said it a few times, since Nigel Martin played for Leeds United. What a save that was at point blank range. And, you know, he won us that game then. You know, it's come off a brilliant cross by Harrison, and it's come off Bamford's nose and gone in. Fantastic. But if it weren't for Meslier, we would have lost that game. And when you see how Sheffield United have finished the season, that would have stuck in our craw, wouldn't it? Meslier, then, have we been impressed?
That game could have turned Sheffield United's season around. If they won that game, they might have come out completely different. And Meslier made a magnificent save that game. Paddy scored late on, and it probably gave Bamford a little bit of confidence as well. And it's interesting, obviously Emma has stuck by Paddy through August 2018 when we first bought him, and I'll give credit where credit's due. I know I've had a little bit of and I've said it myself, that has he been good enough for Leeds United? But he's proved everybody wrong. He's had a magnificent first season in charge at the first season in the Premier League at Ellen Road, and deserves all the plaudits that he gets. And I do wonder, does it help that he's not playing in front of crowds to ease the pressure a little bit? I don't know. The proof will be in the pudding next season, but he's had a phenomenal first season at Ellen Road, and I can't wait to see him back at Ellen Road. And I'm quite pleased in a way he's not been called up for England, so he can have a full pre-season and go for it next season, throw off to the Premier League.
Yeah.
Would you have liked to have seen Paddy at the Euros, Wiggy?
No, from me, I didn't. I think the way England plays very different from the way Leeds United play, and I think he'd have got a lot of stick from the media if he'd have even got on the pitch. You know, he'd have got a lot of stick from the media. I'd love it for him, but then I wasn't one that wanted him there. I think I'd rather have him out of the limelight, have a nice summer off, come back raring to go, have a full pre-season, and hopefully get to 20 goals next season. That's the hope. On Meslier, going into the season, I were absolutely nervous that we had a 20-year-old goalkeeper in our net in our first Premier League season, and so you were just filled with worry and dread. And I think he's one of the players who has really benefited from there being no crowds. He's been able to really settle into the team, really become part of that back line, and whatever back line that was, you can see that they've real trust in him. And he's pulled off some phenomenal saves. He's arguably got us some points that we wasn't due. And I think it's all credit to him. And I think once the crowds are back next season, he will just grow in confidence now, and will go on to be France's number one, I'm sure of it.
Okay, so let me get to the turning point then, the crux of the season. I think it was here. I think it was Chelsea at home, 0-0. And we had so much stick from pundits, from our own fans at certain points about not being able to keep clean sheets. There was suspicions about not playing well against the big six, let's call them. And we were also a bit jittery. We were a bit jittery because it's Leeds United and things can go wrong when you're Leeds United. And then immediately after that, brilliant result. And of course, we've seen how well Chelsea have done this season after Frank Lampard getting to winning the Champions League, basically, unfortunately. And then the very next game, we win in London. And I think that was two hoodoos that left us, and Fulham were the only ones who could have caught us. And we knew then that we were definitely staying up. And then we could relax, and that all the tension left us. And you can see what a difference it made. Grinding out a bit of a grinding out of a win at Sheffield United against Sheffield United, who were obviously fighting for their lives at the time. But then that wonderful victory against Man City, and followed up by another couple of games where we could have done better, little blip, but then a massively strong finish to the season. But that psychologically, I think that's where it turned.
Yeah, I think after that City game, because obviously it was the dreaded April, wasn't it? Where we had, again, going into the season, you're looking at April going, God, this is going to be a really tough April. But, that Man City game when, 10 men, we go and we grind out and we deservedly win a game. I never celebrated a goal that didn't mean anything to anyone. More than I have that one. My neighbours must think I'm absolutely balmy the way I was going for it. So it was superb. And you're right. After that, I just didn't see us losing again. Like I was just full of confidence after that game. Like we, to your point, we were safe, so we could go and play football and just have some fun. And they never, and this is what makes me so proud of all the players and Marcelo. They never, ever, ever took their foot off the gas. They never was on a beach ready for the summer holidays. They played like they were playing for something all the way up until that final whistle against West Brom. And I think all credit to Marcelo and the players for doing that, because some teams, Burnley, for example, the minute they're safe, they're on the beach, aren't they, having the pina coladas and whatever else. So for me, brilliant.
We've got a question here from Curly Conboy, and this sounds like it's far before my time, but Stats, you might know. Can you remember Leeds, Wimbledon, non-league?
I do. I wasn't born. It was season 74-75. I think we're beating Cardiff in the third round 4-1 at Ellen Road. Dickie Guy then saves a Peter Lorimer penalty in the first game. I think Wimbledon were in the Southern League back then. And then I think the replay, which actually got postponed the first time, was played the second time. And I think it was played at Selhurst Park the second time. And I think it was a Dave Bassett own goal that put Leeds through to what was then the fifth round of the FA Cup. And I can just see there, one of Ian's comments. I remember going to Wimbledon away on Grand National Day. That was 1990-91 season, so it was April 91. I can't really won the Grand National because I remember Party Politics won it the year later. But I think that day was April the 6th, 91, the Grand National in 1991. Leeds beat Wimbledon 1-0, Lee Chapman flying header.
Well, there you go. And that leads us nicely onto the Cups then. So a very brief word for two very brief games.
Have we done that section?
I think this was the very first main cast that we ever did. And it was possibly after the whole game. And Kiko was captain. It might have been the second main cast. But yeah, I drew an elephant with a captain's armband on and a Leeds goalkeeper kit, the elephant on the pitch. I'll dig that out in a second. But I mean, that caused uproar, didn't it, among the fan? But there was a meltdown because Kiko had been made captain. I know that he's put out an Instagram post. He put out an Instagram post saying that, his racism is bad, etc., etc. But, it's been a thorn in the side for the club ever since it happened. And Stats, what's your feeling on Kiko Casilla and Leeds United in the Cups, which never seems to work out for us for some reason?
I'll start with Kiko. I think without actually understanding the full situation, he got banned for 8 games. Could the club done more? Maybe, I don't know. It's very difficult to understand the full situation. I thought when he played against was fine, and against West Brom he was. So I think he's on such high leads, it would be probably very difficult to shift him on. So I think he might appear for another. I don't know when his contract does, but I have to see helping on the main cast. I don't quite know when Kiko his contract is up. That's brilliant. Because I think it's a situation probably going to run a rumble. It does kind of seem to split the fan base with it all. As I said, I don't want to comment on stuff I don't really know about with the readings and what have you, and that's probably not for me to do. That's probably for other people to do. So, as far as the cup competitions go, I'm just going to read you the lineups against Hull and against Crawley. Hull City: Casilla, Shackleton, Cresswell, Davis, Barry Douglas, Bogus, Pervader, Casey, Roberts, Alioski, Rodrigo. So you could kind of see where at that particular point in time that priorities lie. The Crawley game, I think, did disappoint a lot of people. Casilla, Davis, Stewart, Cooper, Alioski, Phillips, Costa, Shackleton, Hernandez, Pervader, Rodrigo. the subs that came on, Harrison, Jack Jenkins, Ollie Casey, Rafinha, Sam Greenwood, and the two that didn't come on were Elliot Capri and Niall Huggins. So, yeah, I watched the cup final the other week with fans in the ground when Leicester won the cup and I get to Chelsea. I'd love a day out at Wembley. I think we've got the capabilities now that we can push on in the Premier League, that we can have a real cracking go at the cups next season. We haven't got to an FA Cup final since 1973. That's ridiculous for Leeds United. We haven't got to the last 8 of the FA Cup. Emma's right. Crawley was this year's Histon. Histon 2008-9, horrendous day in the pouring rain at the Glasswood Stadium. We haven't got to the last 8 of the competition, 2003, when we got beat by Sheffield United in an appalling performance at Bramall Lane. League Cup, we had a flirtation with it, didn't we, under Gary Monk? We got to the last 8 against Liverpool. We just don't seem to be a cup team. Now, I'd love us to take the cups. I don't know if serious is the right word, but look, Leeds United are a big team in a one-team city. I want to have a go at the cups. We're not going to get relegated. We're going to push on next season. I want to see Leeds have a real good, especially the FA Cup is there for the taking. And having one Leicester and Leicester, we drew to Chelsea in the league. So it's a real good crack next season.
Yep.
I think them lineups you've just gone through, Stats, thank you, because when you go through them, and remember, they are teams that should have won their respective games. There's no way that team that went out against them should have got beat. Equally, the team that faced Crawley should not be losing. So it's a real bizarre one. I'm with you. I want us to have a good cup run next season, hopefully get to Wembley and have a good day out. But I wouldn't want to do that if there's any risk of anything in the league. But I'm sure next season, you're right, we'll kick on and we'll be fine. I think the Crawley game was just made worse by Mark Wright playing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was that Barry Douglas's last game? Was that Barry Douglas's last game for Leeds?
It was indeed.
Against Hull. Yeah.
It was indeed.
Odd lineup.
I
think it was just... I can see why that team lost. You know, you've got a very odd lineup there at the back. Probably players who've never played with each other before. Even though, you know, Shackleton individually has done well at right back. You know, Creswell has been fantastic all season in the under-23s. Casilla, bags of experience and a good performance in him from time to time. Leif Davis, I thought he did okay at centre-back, even though he's clearly a left-back. And Barry Douglas, obviously, tons of experience. Bogus at DM didn't really work for me, but the whole thing was, you know, it was a bit of a Frankenstein team, so you can kind of see why that one didn't work. But the Crawley game, try and get that lineup for us. The Crawley game was much better. They don't have it visualized, but as you said, you know, Casilla, Phillips, Cooper, you know, Casey as well, a bit older than Creswell, a bit more experienced. So, you know, and the likes of Rodrigo, Rafinha, Pablo, of course. So, yeah, a very, very strong team against Crawley, and it's hard to explain that one. Very hard to explain.
The Crawley subs were what kind of did it to us. They were bizarre substitutions, and you were looking, thinking, "What is he playing at here?" And obviously, we don't question Marcelo much, but I did that. I was like, "What bloody, you know, what planet are you on today?" Because them subs are bizarre.
You know, sometimes it like very often it works. That's the thing. Like 8 times out of 10, it works for him, but it's just those 2 times out of 10 where you think, that was one thought too far. I think sometimes I do think he does overthink it sometimes, but he overworks and overthinks everything, and it works, doesn't it? That's why we're in the position we're in.
The flip is if it had come off, we'd have won the game. You'd all be like, "Oh, the man's a genius!" Absolutely, absolute genius. Absolutely.
Couple of comments before I get into a few stats. So Colchester away was worse than Crawley. I went with my dad and cried. And there's a little bit of crying going on here because people are talking about the West Brom game, which I'm sure we'll get onto in a bit. But yeah, Gracias, Pablo. I'm probably butchering Spanish again, aren't I? Terrible.
Gracias.
Don't know about you, but I was crying and emotional. Lee Smith built a pond in the back garden with my tears from the West Brom game. It was very, very, very difficult to hold back the tears. I want to show you some stats to make us feel a little bit better. This is fbref.com. If you ever want some stats, some analytics on the Premier League or individual teams, I highly recommend this website. They've not been paying me to do this. This is a completely free website. So this is the Premier League table, sorted by possession. Leeds United are 4th. You can sort on many different things. You can sort on XG, for example, and we're 5th. Non-penalty XG, 4th again. And if you look at a lot of these statistics, we're only behind Liverpool, who of course have been one of the standout performers the last 3 seasons. Manchester City, far and away winners of the Premier League again. Yeah. I worked it out. Pep has spent the gross domestic product of Western Samoa since he's been in charge.
Wow.
Of Man City on players. Chelsea, of course, spent $250 million and have a new manager and just won the Champions League. And then it's little old Leeds United. We've ran more than any other team in Europe's Big Five, and the sprints there's a little graph that we can have a look at now, and it got turned into a bit of a meme. But this is the graph of the sprints this season. These are all the other teams: terrible, useless, boring, rubbish. And here's Leeds United. This is not more sprints than the rest of the Premier League. This is like twice the number of sprints an Aston Villa or a Manchester United, for example, are doing. This is beating the competition in fitness levels by an astronomical amount.
Bonkers.
Yeah, mad. I don't think you can say much more. It's like for me, it's one thing, and this is hard work gets you everywhere in life, not just in football, but in life. You know, when I think about my career personally, like I'm not the most academic person, but I'm hardworking. I'm willing to, go and work hard. And if I have to work double the amount of hours that someone else has to work to get something, then that's what I'll do, because I know I can't do that thing as well as them, for example. And I think that just shows just in the stats and just in everything to do with Leeds United, we have not got the best players in the Premier League. We have got the hardest working players in the Premier League, and that's where it's got us to where we're 9th. And with the little bit more quality in the summer, with our signings that we signed last summer all being fit, we can kick on and really cause some problems next season.
Stats, let's talk about next season then. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Where are we finishing?
6th.
6th?
Simple as that. Europa League, here we come. Although, turn the clock back 30 years, we just won promotion from the old 2nd division, finished 4th. What happened the following season?
We won the title. Yeah.
Correct. We're not going to win the title. We're quite good enough to win the title.
30th anniversary.
Indeed. I think we'll finish top 6 next year. I'll probably get egg all in my face, but why not? Why can't we push on for the top 6 next year?
He's made his dream, hasn't he? Wiggy, where are we finishing?
Yeah.
I'd be delighted with 8th. I think anything better than we finish this season would be great. I think, we talk, everyone likes to talk about second season syndrome. We're not going down next season. I'm quite confident of that. But it is about consolidating our place in the Premier League. So anywhere mid-table is another great result, and then we should kick on and go on a European tour, definitely. Stats,
can you move to your left a little bit? I can only see half your face, and it's freaking me out, man. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Probably the best guy.
Can you make your predictions in the comments? We've got a few here. So the question is, where are Leeds United? Top of the sprints, top of the running, hardest working team, saviours of the Premier League, bastions of Beelzebub. Where are we finishing next season? We've got Ian Wood saying finish 5th with 69 points. Very sexy number and a very sexy finish. Top 4, says Emmylou. Well, I would love that. Alan Stirk says 5th. You know what? I wouldn't mind 7th. I wouldn't mind a taste of the Europa Conference.
You know what, Donny? I'm really intrigued by this Conference League, by the teams that are actually going to be in it. Because some of the grounds that I've seen doing the rounds on, it looks like it's been a train station that goes to one of the football grounds.
Yeah, I think that's a meme, but I think it's a meme stats. I think that's not real, surely. No,
I would love
real.
it if it was. I would love it if it was.
Getting on the train to the conference.
Brilliant.
Top 10 again by Racy, 19th. There's a lot of 69s going on here.
What's going on?
Very sexy. I'm going for 6th, MOT, Stephen Garner. Yeah, I was going to say, it's 6 p.m. on a Sunday. I suppose it's not in the morning, but it's not quite past the watershed. There's a lot of 69 going on for that. Patrick Bamford, top goal scorer. I noticed that Angus Kinnear predicted Rodrigo to be player of the season next season.
I'm not saying for Emma to say Patrick Bamford top goal scorer, by the way. She has stuck with him through thick and thin, to be fair.
Yeah, good on you. Good on you, Emmylou. Paddy needed that support, didn't he? And you can see what it meant to him when the fans came back against West Brom, and we're seeing England's number 9. We've never seen him smile that wide. Derek Moore, I can hear the Champions League music already. Yeah, but what's the Europa Conference music? What's that? Some kind of Bill and Ben type thing, or?
Maybe you could do him a jingle, Donny, and send it in.
maybe it's like lift music. It's a Muzak version of the Champions League. Top 4 Europe for sure, says Crispy. And I do think that, maybe like as much as we love to dream, I think we are a fan base of extremes. Like we'll get extremely pessimistic and worried, and then the slightest hint that we might be able to dream again, it's we're going to Europe. We're going to win the league. That's what we did last time. Oh dear. So that's pretty much about it, isn't it? I think we skipped past the European Super League. I'm glad we didn't talk about that because it's been done to death. I think Gary Neville's did it justice, to be fair. A season without fans. We're looking forward to fans back. I think that'll make a massive difference, especially to our home form. And by the sounds of it, we're off to the Europa Conference. Do the Mike Dean. Says
Yeah. Go on, Donny, reenact it.
Mike Dean. I can't even remember what I said. It just came off the top of my head. I'll do this though. How did I do that? There we go. The peacock. Bring that back for the end of season review. There you go. It's been an incredible year. We hardly talked about the Roaring Peacock. But we had no idea what we're doing. We still don't really. We've lost people. We gained new people, new part of the crew. We had technical difficulties. We've changed software. It cost a lot of money. But it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, we're still here. Yeah,
you're right. We've had a lot of fun, and I think that's been the main thing that you wanted to get out of it was bring people some half decent content and have a laugh whilst doing it. And I think you've achieved that.
Yeah, we've achieved one of those things.
Yeah.
We had a good laugh.
might not be fun for your viewers and listeners, but we're having a laugh, so that's fine.
Yeah, it's been good. Stats, thank you very much for being part of the Roaring Peacock. Have you enjoyed it this season?
I have. I've joined halfway through the season, I think, sort of February time. And I'm looking forward to getting going. Looking forward to the Euros, which will be part of, and generally looking forward to what lays ahead. Hopefully get some interviews sorted and what have you. And yeah, looking forward to next season.
Yeah, Stats, if you didn't know, Stats has been organising those interviews. So Robert Molinar, David Weatherall, who else did we talk to?
I think it's just those two to start with.
Matt Heath
as well. So we've got 3 central defenders, so we're building from the back, basically.
Right. We need to get onto a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I'm trying. I am trying to get a few up my sleeve. So fingers crossed for next season, all being well.
Okay, and I want to do a bit of an exclusive for all the listeners here and watchers. Basically, this is going to be our logo for the Euros. Are you ready? Bit of a drum roll. The Roaring Bulldog.
Very, very good.
And this has been created by Nora. She's been in the chat moderating. So thank you very, very much for putting that together. So this is the Roaring Bulldog. We'll be covering the Euros, and this will be our guys. So there you go. We're looking forward to the Euros. We've got a few comments here. It's always difficult to keep up with the comments, but yeah, here we go. Lee Smith, hey lads, we got Brentford to look forward to next season. That's it. Thomas Frank. Thanks lads for this season. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you very much. If you don't know Dylan, he does the No Context Roaring Peacock account on Twitter. So yeah, give that a follow. No Context Roaring Peacock. Yay, London. Let's smash the London curse and not lose in London next season. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? To go to London and not lose, to go a whole season after 3 years, wasn't it? That we didn't have a win.
From QPR to Fulham and all in between.
Well done, Nora. A little too red. This is all in reference to the Roaring Bulldog logo. Well done, Nora, says Emma Lou. So that's our girlfriends becoming friends there, Stats. There you
go. Best way.
Okay. What an absolutely incredible season. Tomorrow, all being well, I'll be speaking to Juani Jimena. He's from Argentina. He translates Bielsa. He's followed Bielsa all through his career and been translating lectures and videos. And then on Tuesday, we'll catch up with the rest of the Roaring Peacocks and talk about the season and the Euros and all of that as well. So we'll do it all again very soon. Thank you to every single person who's been in the chat. Thanks to all the Peacocks. What a season we've had. Leeds United, unbelievable. Thank you, Marcelo. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Gaetano. What careers, what work they've given us. What memories, incredible. And thanks to Wiki and thank you, Stats. I'll let you both go because I know you need to get off, Stats.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks, mate. Thank you, Wiki.
Thanks a lot. No worries. Thank you.
And I'll try and put the outro video on. Our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. A very special thanks to Barney Stewart, Cook Ewan and Howard Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show and all our family and friends.
So many games to play, don't care what's on your mind.